Thank you to Atlas VPN for sponsoring the video. Ah yes, a brand new year, where the early months yield little to no ad revenue. So it honestly really doesn't matter what I release in terms of content, which means I get to focus on series that I would usually ignore for the later months when I have to focus on things like doll series or Disney, because those perform too well to pass up. And because of how hard revenue is in the early months, special thanks to Atlas VPN for sponsoring this video. You scared someone is gonna get your personal info? Bam! Atlas VPN encrypts your data so it won't happen. You scared of spyware? Bam! Atlas VPN protects you from spyware. Are you not sure? Are you still not sure that you're scared your personal information is gonna get stolen? Atlas VPN will tell you when it is stolen because of their data breach feature. Because nobody's perfect. Except Atlas VPN. Have you heard of A Suitable Boy? I bet you haven't, because it's available everywhere on Netflix except for the US and Canada. But you know what? BAM! Atlas VPN lets you pretend you're somewhere else so you can watch it. Imagine all the shows that you could be watching if you just had Atlas VPN. And you can get it for just $1.99 a month for 3 whole years. And if you don't like it, there's a money-back guarantee. Click the link below now. Think back to 2008, where you were blissfully unaware, or horribly aware, of the unfolding housing crisis. And we had shows like Ben 10 Alien Force and Flapjack, which I actually love Flapjack, you can fight me. And it was all before the boom of really popular cartoons that would occur sometime in 2010. Before this big boom, we had a Canadian cartoonist, a man, nay, a legend, who goes by the name Jay Stevens. Surely you've heard of him. He's created another series that I actually also very much enjoy, Tutenstein or Tuttenstein, however you want to pronounce it, along with Jet Cat. He also apparently spearheaded Kablam. You remember that fever dream of a show that focused on like action figures in really weird scenarios? You know, I kind of wonder if this man is okay. Jay Stevens originally made comic books. Tuttenstein, okay, tangent, I'm going off script. I know we don't technically know the proper pronunciation of King Tut. However, I've been told that the closest pronunciation we have is Tutankhamun and not King Tutankhamun. So I'm gonna say King Tutenstein and not Tuttenstein. So if you get upset with me in the comments, okay, I like ancient Egyptian history, so I look this stuff up. Tutenstein and Jet Cat were originally comic series. He actually is also a writer for several major comic books, even going so far as to have a crossover with Marvel Comics and Tutenstein. And because of this, Jay Stevens wanted Secret Saturdays to have a comic book styled feel. Back in 2003, Jay Stevens sketched out the original idea of what was then called Cryptids, where he showed it around to several studios until in 2008, Cartoon Network finally picked it up. In this show, you follow 3 white-haired, not anime protagonists, Zach, Doc, and Drew Saturday, where they protect the world from evil, solving mysteries using their knowledge of cryptozoology. Now, the show differed a lot from Jay Stevens' original idea, mostly because Cartoon Network would, dip their hand and into production and change some things around, which whenever I hear that, usually people's reaction is, oh no, business executives made it worse. However, in an interview with Jay Stevens, he said, I never felt that Cartoon Network wanted anything other than a cool, successful show out of The Secret Saturdays, and the bulk of their input was not only easy to accommodate, but more often than not, improved the series. The show begins with a coordinated attack on all the research stations, including the Saturdays. And we're introduced to the main villain, Vivi Argost.
My name is Vivi Argost. From the time you and your friends broke into my home and stole a wonderful giant stone from me.
Sadly, they're too busy training Zach, who was apparently able to, communicate with cryptids? Or control them? Something along those lines. Maybe both.
Frog on, frog off. Frog on, frog off.
They eventually swing in to deal with the lackeys.
Drew, you're looking hot as ever.
I don't care much for objectifying women, especially women in STEM, but he does have a point. There's just something about that singular upper black lip that really gets you going.
Huh?
Why would you throw a TV?
I get in the zone.
They teleport out of there eventually. Zack is upset that his parents are being overprotective and won't let him fight with them to help save the world. Well, I guess overprotective isn't really the right word when we're talking about cryptids and mercenaries.
You know you're 11.
They go to meet up with another doctor at a research facility to gather information.
The Kerr Stone, key to finding the ancient Sumerian beast called Kerr. Ultimate, limitless power. Kerr can give it to you. And only the stone can lead you to Kerr. And now that we knew what it was, we decided this was one secret that needed to stay secret.
And so Zack is like, well, where is it? And Drew is like, it's in the Amazon. And then they find out that the scientist was being controlled so that they can spy on him. And now Argos knows what the final piece of the stone is. You know, I thought it was really weird how they were just openly telling him where they hid it. What's the point of hiding something if you're just gonna tell people? I mean, literally anyone. It's very unprofessional. Argos chases them down and blows up their airship, forcing them to crash land.
Do you ever wonder why you have the power you do? In every ancient legend, there's a balance. He'll have the power to raise an entire army of cryptids. What kind of power could stand against a man with an army of cryptids at his disposal?
Mine?
Equal and opposite.
So, what you're saying is, the world created a chosen one. You know, I wonder if, since cryptids have risen in popularity over the course of several years, especially cryptids like Moth Man, I wonder if this show would actually perform better now than it did back in 2008. Hold on, is that the Infinity Gauntlet? Why do they need the Curse Stone when they have the reality-altering gauntlet right there? They reach their destination and dig up the stone. They just buried it, that's it. You didn't even put it inside a metal container so that if any animals dig it up, it'd be protected? What about erosion? I mean, oh, well, I guess you can't put it in a metal container because then Argos could just use the big metal detector to find any man-made structures. However, there are containers that are not metal. I feel like there was a better way to do this. Speaking of Argos, here he is. He throws some bugs at them and it weakens them enough to where they can't run away. Now, only Zack is able to help. And he fails.
Zack, no! Don't let Argos see.
Dear boy.
Zack manages to free himself using his powers, but he couldn't manage to get the stone back. Wow, only episode 2 and the bad guy already won. Well, I know there's a ton of extra episodes after this, so let's see how they turn this around. Oh, so they have an imprint of the stone. So they still have the information, technically. I mean, that doesn't fix the problem of Argos having the stones, but I guess it's something. Now the goal is to decode the map on the stones before Argos oh wait, this way it becomes a race and there's a lot more tension. Okay, I can get behind this.
Why are we changing course?
Trouble in Japan. Looks like we're gonna have to forget about Argos for a while.
Oh yes, let's just forget about the evil supervillain that is trying to take over the world, and let's make a bunch of standalone episodes so that Cartoon Network can be happy and have reruns whenever they just have nothing to air at that time. This show is definitely one that likes to focus on action. Every episode has to have some adrenaline-fueled chase scene or fight scene or hunt or something, and I forget how much I appreciate the effort they put into making these kinds of... Did Zack just die? Oh, no, he's fine, okay. The fun thing is that when you're watching this show, they will throw a bunch of cryptids at you that you've never heard of.
Hebagon from the Mount Heba region.
Well, shoot, I thought they were making this up. That does exist. Don't get me wrong, they have made up some cryptids for the sake of the show. However, they still do their own research.
You saved a baby?
He was somebody's baby once.
That's how I feel about my anime figures. I side with Zack on this, but also it is weird that he's a fan of their family's enemy. Wait a minute, this would be a perfect setup for how your heroes and the people you look up to can let you down, and you need to learn to, like, move past it so that you can become your own person and learn to look up to yourself. I don't think they're gonna do that, but still, this is a good setup for that.
Put him down, Masuki!
A very poor choice of words.
I see what you did there. It just so happens The Dark Knight came out the exact same year.
Very poor choice of words. The local fishermen are saying the Amarok is back.
My goodness, this exists too? Gosh, I appreciate this show so much. Why aren't more people in the cryptid community going nuts over this show? We need to share this show with more people. I'm sure they'd get a kick out of this. Share this video with your cryptid friends and, you know, cryptid communities, because if they haven't seen this show, They really should.
You know what they say about Saturdays? They never get here soon enough.
Okay, that was actually a good joke. The best part is there's actually not a lot of information floating around about the cryptids, that of which they are using for the show, which means there's a lot of free room to write and flesh it out with their own original stuff. There's a lot of times I'm watching the show and they mention something and I'm quickly Googling it to see if it's actually real, and surprising amounts of times it is. I really like how they do the characters in this show. Like the lackeys that work for Von Rook, he's not entirely evil. He knows when a job is too much work for the pay, and also doesn't care for children dying. The characters in this show is very diverse. Well, there's a lot of characters in this show, but I mean, like, the way they're written, it helps to separate them all. Zach is impetuous. Drew is very protective, but witty. Doc is understanding and focused. Van Rook wants money and doesn't care how he'll get it. Argos is kind of just evil, a bit more conniving, very much fits into the classic villain role. It all works very well. So Kumari Kandam, basically Atlantis, but not Atlantis, rose from the ocean and Argos convinced the people they're their king. They assume that it's part of the puzzle of the Curse Stone, and they also got captured. Now Zach has to figure out how to get them out. They meet the usurped king of Kumari Kandam, who agrees to help them.
I can help you find your parents. If you're done joking like an idiot.
Yeah, we're good.
Zach swings into action, but turns out the guard was actually his mom attempting to stop Argost. And Argost convinces the Kumaris that the surface dwellers plan to attack, so they plan to go to war.
Of course! He started this war to draw you into the open. Your royal medallion. Where did it come from originally?
A gift from the Sumerian dynasty of Ornamu.
That means...
Kerr.
So the king confronts Argost, and then Doc jumps to surprise them. The king decides, you know, if this has power, I'll test it out. And then a big demon question mark comes out to attack and stop Argost, but apparently dropping it stops it also. Argost gets away with the medallion, so chalk up another win for Argost, but again, they can read it, so it's not all lost. I hope they don't do the thing where it's the bad guy winning again and again and again, only for the final act to have the good guys turn it around. The good guys need some victories here and there as well. Otherwise, it gets very boring and very predictable. And so, underwater, they search for the Alkali Lake Monster, as the Curse Stone mentions it a bunch. They don't know why, but that's what they'll find out. Van Rook shows up and takes a horn, presumably knowing more than the Saturdays.
Do you even know what Argos is after? Armies of cryptids in the streets? The guy wants to rule the world.
I don't ask questions from the guy with the money.
Yeah, well, maybe you should.
During their struggle, his helmet comes off and Drew seems to recognize him, and then loses the horn.
I think he's my brother.
What?
You think he's your brother? Heck, even he didn't sound convinced. The Saturdays get the horn, then Drew's supposed brother runs away. Apparently, when Drew was little in the Himalayas, a storm tore her family apart and she was alone. She's been looking for her family for years. This is a very important detail that is actually gonna come up later on, so put a pin in this. Her supposed brother calls saying he's in trouble. She meets up with Doyle, but turns out Argost followed them, and then they predictably get captured. But Zach breaks them out, so it's all good. And we get to see Drew be really, really cool. Also, why does Argost always use insects to attack people? It's weird. And while Doc is analyzing the horn, Munya and Van Rook attack.
They were just trying to lure us away so they could get the horn.
And once again, the bad guys get away with the prize. Doyle shows up and tells them that his helmet was bugged and that Van Rook was spying on him, but Drew isn't having it, so he brings them a piece of the Curse Stone. And Doyle decides, you know what, Argost is kind of awful, so I don't want to work with him anyway.
And I need a place to crash.
What?
Okay. Not how I expected them to win, but it's a win nonetheless. I'll take it. Next, there's a fire lizard they had to track down, but what you really need is its shedded skin in order to withstand the heat of a volcano. So Argost yeets himself into a volcano, so they yeet themselves into it also. Argost steals an egg for some unknown reason.
But did she honestly think I wanted the egg?
You know, this would be a lot more engaging if they told us what all of this is for. I mean, the Saturdays have the same amount of information as Argost, but all they have really is this. There's a picture of a lizard man. This must have something to do with the Curse Stone. All the while, Argost is all like, ah, yes, if you translate the ancient Sumerian, it clearly states that the lizard from the volcano will shed its skin so you can enter the volcano, and inside is a crystal that's needed for the big evil doohickey. Like, how is he able to draw so much more information out of the stone when the Saturdays can't? Also, debate in the comments below. Would Zach's powers work on Godzilla? Are kaiju considered cryptids? Oh my gosh. Wait, is that the Moth Man?
They call it the Owl Man.
The Owl Man? Oh, well, shucks. And here I was getting all excited. Anyway, several episodes in, Doyle is a total jerk and ruins all their plans, so they kick him out. And then they find a map where the Owl Man's nest was. So at least now they got a key to the puzzle that Argost doesn't have.
The water has mysteriously crystallized, as it has in so many locations across the Middle East.
You know, that reminds me. I really appreciate how many different locations they go to. They go literally all around the world. And a lot of the times they have to like learn some of the languages that they speak in order for the voice actors to speak it for the sake of authenticity, and I really appreciate that level of commitment. It makes this show feel a lot more grounded. They find an Aztec mirror in a temple of one of their gods, and it ends up creating evil clones of themselves from another dimension that Zach calls the Mondays. The evil family is so dysfunctional, they end up putting themselves back in the mirror dimension. But Zach Monday and his talking Komodo manages to break free from one of the mirror shards. And now we wait for whatever comes out of this. Don't you love clone episodes or gender bend episodes? I think I personally prefer gender bend episodes over clone ones, but I mean, then again, look who's talking. Of course I would like them better. They find an underground fighting ring for cryptids, and they get Doyle back to get inside with Fisk so they can gather information. I was wondering when Doyle would return. They eventually bust in to free all the cryptids they stole and stop Van Rook's operation. Turns out it was all part of Argost's plan. He needed Zach to get rid of all the cryptids so he can open up the tomb to Kerr. Apparently the map from the Owl Man ends up right here. Okay, wait, so Argost knew about this? I thought they covered up the map so that he wouldn't find it. How is Argost learning all of this? And Argost uses those things he's been collecting to get inside. It all starts coming together. They catch up too late. Whatever was in the tomb, Argost already took. Best part, they actually managed to have Van Rook get captured by the local police. Hopefully he'll be out of the way for a while. And Argost found a big stone slab of Fisk? Ah, of course, the unknown weird cryptid that is Zach's companion is the final piece to the puzzle of the Curse Stone. How did I not see this coming? It was so obvious. Also, don't tell my D&D party, but I'm actually stealing a lot of these ideas for our campaign. And I don't want them getting bored, and I'm kind of running out of ideas. But Van Rook's stay in prison doesn't last long when Argost breaks him out with a massive swarm of insects. Like, seriously though, I like etymology, but what's with this guy's obsession with bugs?
This could have been our honeymoon.
Whoa, Mom, you almost married Van Rook?
We dated a few times in college. I didn't know he was...
Zach and Fisk get trapped on a train heading for a dead end, and Argost will only stop the train if they give up Fisk. Remember, they don't know Fisk is important. And because Fisk needs to protect Zach, he agrees, but Argost wasn't actually gonna stop the train, so Fisk decides to put everyone in danger. Fisk stops the train, and it wears him out enough to where he collapses, and they succeed in stealing him. They break into Argost's lair, and they get fed up with the trap, so they bust their way through. Oh, wow, the insects rebuilt his house. Okay, maybe I can understand his obsession with insects. Argost hired a Lamia snake person to verify if Fisk is an all-powerful cryptid Kerr. Wait, they have what, a baseball card exchange authentication for cryptids? Not just cryptids, ancient, all-powerful, godlike cryptids. Argost, I do not know who she claims to be, however, I think you're getting scammed. And when busting through the building, they find the last piece of the Curse Stone. So Drew snaps a picture of it. Is the stone really all that useful now? I mean, I feel like we're at the end of the road with the stone. If anything, you should destroy it so that Argost doesn't have the info.
I hold a powerful relic. It glows in the presence of its master. Oh, this is not Kerr.
They manage to stop Argost and break Fisk free. Argost gets away because of course he does.
This Lemurian stuff is news to you too. My mouth stays shut until you're ready to tell the family.
Why? I feel like this is a very important piece of information everyone needs to know now. Why would Fisk feel uncomfortable talking about it? Fisk eventually tells Zack, so at least someone else knows. So they get the help of, Zack's old babysitter, because apparently he remembers she mentioned something about Lemurians, and given the Snake Lady is there, I'm guessing they're on the right track, but weird.
It's Alexandria's Royal Library.
The library that burned down thousands of years ago?
So we have a history buff.
I'm kind of an everything buff.
Blah. Wow, Doyle, your ability to flirt is abysmal. Also, it's the Library of Alexandria. You don't need to be a history buff to know basic 6th grade level history.
That the fire was only a cover to hide the library's most important secrets.
They find some old glyphs that are instructions to the quote-unquote Cur Guardians, or as I like to call them, the Cardians, which apparently Fisk is one of them. And Zack is scared that since his powers are meant to fight Cur, he's afraid he'll have to fight Fisk. They proceed to do more Indiana Jones mystical archaeology stuff and to get another clue. And they end up finding Shangri-La. Wow. What's next? El Dorado? Libertalia? Somewhere else Nathan Drake visited? They meet a big Rubik's Cube that talks to Fisk telepathically, telling Fisk that he's most likely the last Cur Guardian on Earth, and then Snake Lady comes to ruin everything.
Embrace who you are. You must guard this world from the evil of Cur.
Fisk, your people are the good guys!
And then Fisk hulks Snake Lady away. Also weird turn of events, they get captured on a run-of-the-mill investigation and find out that Zack's old babysitter is Van Rook's new apprentice. Like, weird, but okay. Not sure why you helped them last time, but sure. The entire episode is just giving Van Rook a new apprentice. But also Doyle and her still kind of have a thing going on, so I guess there is some tension, but I don't really care too much about it, and it doesn't really pan out into anything. Somewhere, Argost is betraying the Snake Lady for her special doohickey. Snake Lady sends a snake messenger saying she'll pull the Atlas pin and destroy the world unless they get her special doohickey. Also, there's apparently a massive fault within the Earth's crust, and an ancient civilization put a massive stone pin to hold it together. This is all new information that they created for the sake of this episode, so just if you thought you missed something, you didn't. They go to Ulraj to ask, hey, where the heck is this pin thing?
The Naga were the scourge of the ancient world. Their dark mysticism corrupted
Dark mysticism? Zack, we have to make a call.
They tell them they should destroy the doohickey because dark magic is bad, but they say, nah, let's keep it so that they can use it. They intercept Snake Lady, but it's not Snake Lady, it's Snake Guy this time. Oh, there's several, I guess. So they start pulling out the Atlas pin, and how in the heck do they fix this mess? Fisk dives right into Argost's ship and steal the doohickey. Luckily, Ulraj and his giant serpent come to help. I guess this is how they fix the problem. And Fisk decides, let's not use dark magic. And then Doyle goes under their nose and decides to fix it without them knowing anyway, so... Honestly, I would have done the same thing. Dark magic? Sounds cool. I don't care about the consequences, I'll burn that bridge when I get there. Fisk is framed for attacking the other scientists, and turns out it's the Mondays doing something. You know, controlling Fisk to frame the Saturdays. I was wondering when he'd come back. And everyone kind of figures it out from the video footage. They send Zack Saturday into the mirror dimension to get their airship, and Zack convinces the other Mondays to join him so they can get revenge on Zack Monday. Zack gets Zack's airship back from the mirror dimension. Zack drained their power cells, so the airship goes crashing, and Zack brings them back into the mirror dimension. This doesn't progress the plot at all, but I'd like to make sure you guys knew what happened to the loose end. They visit a paranormal neurologist to try and hack into Fisk's brain so they can make a beeline to Cur. Then Argost hacks Zack with the neural parasite thing, which leads to Fisk getting the neural parasite. Also, Doyle, or rather the doohickey, magically repairs itself. Zack uses his power to enter Fisk's brain space to help him fight the parasite, and it works. And the robot version of Fisk that he created, don't ask, creates a big monument that Fisk has been obsessing over, and then when Fisk approaches, turns out it's a divining rod, so they can have a compass to Cur, and apparently Cur is in Antarctica. They get there, Argost follows them, and Cur is a massive red Gyarados. That's not at all what I was expecting.
Come on, your power versus mine. There's nothing!
And in case you were wondering if that's actually Kerr, Doyle confirms it with the doohickey. Turns out that wasn't where the brain was. This is Kerr. Now that is what I was expecting. Also, why is he in Antarctica? And it doesn't matter how many laws of physics we break, Komodo will be useful somehow.
Somebody else has control of it. Argos is inside Kerr. I have to go in there too.
I'm up for it.
So him and Fisk work their way in there, and they find Argos literally hooked into Kerr's spine. And so Zack, utilizing all of his powers, manages to slap Argos like a piñata, and manages to use his power on Kerr to stop him before escaping. And the cryptids that dwell inside Kerr attack Argos, finishing the job for them, but he doesn't die.
Professor?
That's how season 1 ends. Well, I mean, I guess I sort of assumed that's how it would go, seeing as Zack and Kerr kind of have the exact same power. I assumed Zack was like an incarnation of Kerr somehow, but I didn't think they would actually commit to this idea. I'm glad they did though. So apparently when they found the Kerr stone, the power imbued with baby Zack, and that's how he got his powers. So I guess Doc's theory about how the world balances itself doesn't really work anymore? Now for some reason, everyone is trying to kill Zack, which I really don't understand why, or, you know, they want to capture him. These secret scientists kind of suck. Also, now those snake people serve Zack now that Zack is Kerr, I mean, at least something good happened. Now that snake people are like, OMG, you should overthrow the human race. And Zack is like, I am a human. And they're like, well, are you really human now? And now Zack has a whole existential crisis and he has to deal with now.
If the boy won't start the war on humanity, the Nagas will start it for him!
Oh yeah, I guess that's a problem too. Also, Van Rook is broke, and Doyle is hiring him to help find Argos. And then snake people literally go straight to attacking Manhattan. You know, I realize one flaw in this show is that they really don't talk about how they cover up all the cryptids. Are they still supposed to be a secret? Because people act like they don't know or they don't believe in them, but there's been like maybe one time where there's been a massive cover up. All the other times it's just been, there's literal monsters among us. Why are we not talking about this? We have them on footage, it's in the news. People seem to just forget. Doyle finds a stash of recordings in Loch Ness, Scotland, that's been mimicking Argos's voice.
Van Rook is a shiny purple donut monkey.
Which means Argos must really be gone.
I seriously doubt that though. Someone just yeets into Snake Lady and stops them, which, okay, sure. Turns out it was Argos. I was totally not expecting this, OMG, what?
You don't understand your power.
Let me guess. You're volunteering?
Then I'll await your answer tonight.
And the people thought that Zack was controlling all the cryptids to attack the city, so I guess he's a criminal now? Argost's plan is to send messages to Zack through his TV show, leading him to cryptids that he should investigate so he can train on his own. And Argost is very open to saying, hey, I'm still the bad guy. I'm going to deceive you. You know, eventually. You gotta appreciate his honesty. So Zack watches Weird World, goes to Mexico, like Argos said, and learns to see cryptids without his eyes. And I'm guessing it's going to be a series of episodes like this where he slowly learns his powers. Now they're hunting down the legend of Gilgamesh so they can find some ancient civilization who can drive out the spirit of Kerr to maybe get Kerr out of Zack, and so everyone stops hunting him down. So they find them and tell them about a banishment ceremony. They start the ceremony, and Fisk is like, OMG, he's in pain. And then snake people come, because of course they do. And then all the scientists who are hunting him down come, but they're sort of on the Saturday side, but the snake people says that he won't survive, and then turns out, oh yeah, that guy is trying to kill Kerr. So they have to save Zack. Then that guy gets away. And now all three of them are sort of on the same side, so at least they'll stop hunting down Zack. And Argos gets the Flute of Gilgamesh from them for some unknown evil reason. Zack gets a vision of some weird and creepy future where he tries to use his powers, probably because Tzul'Kalu is hunting them. You know, like the claw that he uses, you know, it's the hand of Tzul'Kalu. I'm pretty sure he wants it back.
Why don't we just stand and fight?
Because the last time I did that, I came out with a blind eye.
Turns out, Tzul'Kalu is actually scared of Zack because he's Kerr, but Zack proves that he's not evil, and now they're kind of friends? Then Zack's family finds out that he's been working with Argost, and in a panic, they go on Argost's ship. And this is in front of all the secret scientists, so it looks really bad. Turns out that they found out about the mirror and brings back Zack Monday, and then he starts sucking out Zack Monday's Kerr powers into himself. And in the weirdest turn of events, in the Himalayas, they find out the Yeti is Argost, which would explain why he knows so much about the cryptid when he is one. But it's okay, because Tsul'kalu comes to help, and the rest of his family? Okay, oh cool. And so he wages war on humans with his new cryptid army. Then Drew is like, OMG, you're the Yeti, you killed my parents in the Himalayas. And Zack is like, no, you can't give in to your darkness. There must be a better way. But like, no. I mean, I get it, it's a kid's show, but really, just kill him. He's trying to conquer the world. We have killed people for less. Anyway, Van Rook dies, saving Drew.
Ah, Drew, you were the only thing I liked almost as much as money.
Wow. How touching. Argost starts using the same method to get Zack's power of Kerr, too.
Matter and antimatter don't play well together. You know why the world went crazy every time Zack Monday and I got too close? Have fun learning that lesson.
And so, with all the power and anti-power, he just kind of implodes and everything is fixed and everything goes back to normal. Zack literally almost dying. Okay, well, technically he was dead for like 3 minutes, but he's back now. He doesn't have Kerr's power anymore. He can be a regular kid without being hunted by secret scientists or snake people or anyone. This is one of those shows that has a below average beginning and an above average ending. It keeps giving and the stakes keep ramping up as the series continues. The Secret Saturdays only lasted a total of 36 episodes, which if you know how to do math or you know the numbers like I do, that is a total of 1 season, 26 episodes, and an extra 10 episodes. If I had to guess as to why it was not renewed for a 3rd season, there's a few things. One, because it just ended where it should have. I know nowadays when we think about TV shows, I mean, you can write whatever. We measure a success of a TV show with how many seasons it gets renewed with. Not always the case. Cartoon Network did report in a lot more viewers of their target demographic while this show was airing. However, if you still subscribe to the idea that it must have been canceled somehow, 10 episodes, that's an awkward 2nd season. So here's some ideas as to why I believe it was quote unquote canceled. 1, cryptids just weren't as popular during that time. And so toy sales didn't really fly off the shelves. During that time, people were a lot more interested in like Greek and Norse mythology during the Percy Jackson boom. Or the other big reason is because this was airing alongside Star Wars: The Clone Wars. And when you have a show that big, it's easy to just forget the existence of that Secret Saturday show, whatever it's called. However, I will say that it kind of, I'm afraid there could have been some upset with the depiction of a mixed couple, but at the same time, the show would technically break stereotypes because, you know, one, you like, I hear like the thing with now you have a very present black father, which apparently, sadly, breaks stereotypes. Also, just showing a mixed couple was probably a big deal during that time. It's 2008, so I don't think it's really that big of a deal, but still, credit where credit's due. I mean, heck, both of them are scientists too, so that's setting a good example for kids, specifically black children and for young girls. I mean, it also has the stereotype of the white chick who believes in ghosts, but I feel like the goods outweigh the bads. And with all that being said, if you have any fan art of Drew Saturday, please send it to me at @negative_legend on my social media. I'm not even going to act coy. I am once again asking for your help.
Okay, boys, game over.
I am literally begging you.